My name is Michael Bradley, a resident of Providence. I run the Community Compost Depot at Fry Gardens, which is the state's first registered medium-scale compost facility. It's also the largest community-based compost facility in the state and the area. And I've been involved in the composting initiative actively for almost 20 years. And have followed the developments of certain issues, and this ranks as one of, if not the most important issue to address. For full disclosure, I'm also a research scientist and have intimate knowledge with these chemicals and the use and behavior of chemicals, both in our body and the environment, as well as reaction flasks, where I make things happen under controlled atmosphere. Today, I'd like to just highlight one important aspect. I submitted testimony for both of these bills in support of both S2068 and S2235. But what I'd like to share with you is my experience with trying to keep control of my composting process and eliminate all types of potential contaminants, and in particular, these that are carried along with food packaging, particularly molded paper plates, bowls, cups that look very compostable. They look like they're a simple fiber that would easily break down. And as well as pointed out, many of them are actually stamped compostable, and they also are able to move into the market without testing, or at least historically have been. There are movements to address this, both within the industry, within testing labs, but it's important to know what happens when these get into my system. On a daily basis, I'm sorting material by hand. I collect and compost over 2,000 pounds of food scraps a week at a location off of Smith Street, and the material needs to be scrutinized and to ensure that I'm producing a product that's healthy for members of my compost program. It's a community compost program with over 350 residents of Providence involved in that program. Part of the program, I give back a portion of the compost as both an incentive, but also, I don't want to say a reward, but a thank you to my members for doing the right thing in removing food scraps from the waste stream, and also being mindful that the return of food scraps back to the soil both can invigorate poor soils, can increase the health of the soils, and can ensure that healthy food is grown for communities. The problem is the presence of PFAS in that material is a ticking time bomb. This is on the order of a radioactive type of material. It's not literally radioactive, but it's a material that is incompatible with life. It's incompatible with the biological system. And in my experience, I get members of my compost depot who have been trained by me, feel they're doing the right thing when they take their Chipotle molded bowl and they throw it into my compost system, feeling that, oh, that's paper, that's compostable, and I don't want to throw it in the trash, and I can't recycle it because the surface is now greased. I then have the concern that these bowls that I'm pulling out have been sitting in there long enough that is stuff leaching out? Is it absorbing into my compost, even though I separate that package? Am I then returning compost to members of my program that is compromised, that could potentially be a health hazard? This has caused me such concern that I've contemplated shutting down my operation until this is addressed, and only because I'm concerned about the health of the members of my compost program. And if I can't meet that, and if I'm somehow putting someone in jeopardy, even a fraction on the trajectory of a bad, compost or something that could risk their health. That doesn't leave me with a good feeling, and as a growing business, I can't imagine that other members of the composting sector would want to see this product in their systems as well. And I really urge you to support this and to ensure that we have control of materials, and we also have an understanding of what is in our materials, particularly something that is on an object that comes into intimate contact with us as we're eating, or is given to our children, or shared with our community. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you listening to me.